4 months is all we have left until the iPhone 13 event hits. And there's been a lot of leaks and rumors coming. Some are like Star Trek level far-fetched. I wanted to break down everything that we're hearing the iPhone 13 could have and give you my thoughts what I think is gonna make it in this phone and what's gonna have to wait until the iPhone 14. Out of all the rumors, all the leaks on the iPhone 13, this is the one that I'm here the most for. ProMotion display, 120 hertz, finally making its way to the iPhone. So that's the good news. The bad news is it looks like that tech is only going to be on the Pro line. So regular Pro and Pro Max. Disappointing for the regular 13s, but Apple has needed this for years. Their screens are amazing, their calibration's great, but they have fallen so far behind when you actually look at the displays coming from other manufacturers. The Android world, the flagship phones have been doing this for a very long time, and Apple needs it to very least catch up to level up technology. All right, so let's talk a bit about them bumps on the back of the phone. The cameras, we're gonna see a big improvement from the 12 series to the 13 series. So iPhone cameras have generally been amongst the best, and usually it alternates Samsung, Google, but at least they've been in the top 3 to top 4 of like the smartphone world. Apple's looking to close that gap a little bit more. This is actually gonna be one of the biggest improvements that we've seen to the cameras in several years. So first, larger sensors and a new form of image stabilization. Low light performance should show like a just generational leap. You might even see astrophotography mode make its way this year. So alongside the new sort of camera sensors, we might also see Apple debut in a portrait video mode, which will probably use the best parts of computational photography, sort of mimic the depth of field you get from a dedicated video camera, like honestly, like the ones we're using with here. Portrait mode has obviously become a staple in the industry with every phone having some similar feature. Like I said, sometimes I tend to forget how like generally not good it was at launch, and I would expect that same problem to make its way to portrait mode video. First generation's gonna need some work. It'll be fun to play with, but as we get to the next 2 or 3 phones, they should get it to be really dialed down. Also, these new cameras are reportedly so big that configurations have to be changed to a diagonal design versus the top and bottom layout that kind of we have right now. A bummer for me personally. I was hoping for a better zoom. 2.5 is, I think, like an embarrassment for a flagship phone right now, and that's the best zoom that Apple offers on the 12 Pro Max, but it looks like it's gonna stick around for at least another year. And now for the sexiest of all topics. So I wanna bring the mood down a little bit. We got a nice sexy topic to talk about with the iPhone 13, new 5G modems. Now I can imagine that it might not be something that you guys are all excited and jazzed about, but it is going to make how you use your phone and what you can do with it, I think, a lot better. So first one, better battery life. Should be awesome. Everybody can get on board with that. So it should be using Qualcomm's newest X60 modem. That can be integrated into the main phone's chipset, which is going to save space, reduce battery drain, and also should hopefully lower costs, but probably just for Apple, that won't filter down to us. Compatible with 5G networks globally, supports dual SIM with 5G, even aggregated both millimeter wave and sub-6, potentially and theoretically faster speeds, and so 5G network can simultaneously deliver, if you can find it, insane performance. Also of note, this might be either the last or second to last 5G modem that we see from Qualcomm. If you remember a couple years ago, Apple bought Intel's chip business. We should see that make its way into iPhones around 2023. So I've considered MagSafe to be a feature that has like a lot of potential. Right now it's borderline useful. It's nice to kind of slap that charger on, but that's mostly it. Sort of manufacturers and Apple has been slow to roll out new MagSafe things. But I think with the iPhone 13, we'll start to see that MagSafe promise start to be fulfilled, especially as it looks like Apple wants to do away eventually with that ports. Perhaps with the iPhone 13, we may even see data transfer for MagSafe, which I think would be certainly the harbinger of all ports disappearing. But until we get to that point, we can look forward to the magnets being stronger. When I say stronger, I only mean like the magnetic pull of them, like the actual magnetizing part. Another benefit of kind of what I'm calling MagSafe 2.0 will also be increased efficiency of around 20%. We'll have to wait and see if that translates to 20% faster charging or just 20% stronger connection. So before we keep going about Apple event stuff, I did want to take a break. I've been doing stuff on camera for a very long time, and I haven't always taken the best care of my skin. I have some spots under my eyes, some sun damage, something I need to be more aware of, especially as I get older. Recently, I've been trying a line of products from a company called Geology, and they offer sort of a variety of different stuff, from night treatments to acne treatments and things in between. And I found it, at least in now the about 9 days I've been using it, to actually really be able to see a difference in that short amount of time. So most nights I've been using their two-step regimen. It's a face wash and then a night cream. I've been actually taking it to a third step. There's a eye cream as well. I don't sleep that well. I've sort of been pretty vocal about having insomnia. So something under my eyes has helped me not have like gigantic black spots. Fortunately, I am done with my acne phase of life, but I certainly went through it a few years ago. And they do offer a really solid acne treatment as well. So if you want to give it a shot, and I think you should, we'll put a link down below or on screen. You'll get 40% off your first trial set, making it a really affordable way to try to help your skincare. Your skin is the only set you get, and it's kind of what you show to the world. So I'm learning to take better care of my skin, and maybe you guys can too. So we've seen the dummy models of the iPhones, and they're a little bit of a thicker boys, and hopefully that is for larger batteries, and rumors coming out tend to back that up. It's not gonna be like a huge order of magnitude bigger, but rumors are around 3 to 5% for each phone. So whatever extra milliamp hours they can put in there, I think is obviously good for everybody. So since the iPhone 10, a hallmark of iPhones has been Face ID and the notch. We're coming one step closer to a notchless future. At least from the renders, it looks like the earpiece has been moved to the bezel of the iPhone, making the notch to finally shrink for the first time in years. I'm really interested to know if the notch bothers you guys anymore. I think it bothered me at first. Now I don't even notice it. Personally though, I would much rather the tech advance to the point where it totally goes away and the camera and all the sensors go under the display versus sort of the top notch, but that's still years away, but I think eventually we will get there. But at least shrinking it is a step in the right direction. So, like, we've been wearing a lot of masks, and I never thought that I would necessarily miss Touch ID, but I have, and it looks like it should make its debut, I guess re-debut, with the iPhone 13. There's been conflicting reports about how its grand comeback is going to work. If it will be under display, like we've seen a lot of other manufacturers do, or if Apple just put it in the power and lock button, kind of like we have with the iPad Air. Either way though, it looks like Touch ID plus Face ID will be here. So redundancy is awesome. You can choose what you want to use. If you don't have an Apple Watch, you had no other way to unlock your phone if you're wearing a mask than typing in your password. So more security and options for the user, I'm all here for. So looking at a next generation of phone, obviously it's gonna have the next generation chip, right? A14 this year, A15 next year. But you might think like I did, that it would make sense for, Tim Cook to come like Mission Impossibling down, pulling out the M1 chip out of like a MacBook Pro and dropping it into the iPhone 13. Does not appear to be the case, at least not yet. I think the A15 will be the last generation of the A chip, then ultimately it will move to probably the M2 or M3 with whatever comes after the iPhone 13. So obviously though, the Pro models are going to have that higher refresh screen, which are awesome, but the downside of that, it's also kind of a battery hog. So we're hearing rumors that the Pro models will be 15 to 20% more power efficient to offset that battery consumption. I don't know why that would make its way to the iPhone 13 line and just have like baller battery life, but at the very least, you shouldn't see an impact on battery life from the iPhone 12 Pro line to the iPhone 13 Pro line, despite ProMotion making its way. Also, if you're a fan of little phones, and it doesn't appear that there are many of you, this also looks like it's going to be the last year of the Mini. So if you want a diminutive little phone, pick it up this year because it looks like Apple's putting that on the scrap heap pretty soon. We should also see a 1 terabyte option make its way to the iPhones. First time that has ever debuted. That is a huge amount of storage that's going to come with a giant price point. But if you like to store all of your 500 gigabytes of pictures locally on your phone, you can do that now. but man, I bet that's gonna carry like an $800 premium over the entry level. And every year for new iPhone, at least for the past few years, Apple's had a new color. We should see matte black and even kind of an orange bronze this type of year, which I think sounds pretty awesome. I'd love to see jet black make a return, but you know, matte black everything, I guess, and it should look really nice to have different color options. We'll probably see the blue that made its debut with the iPhone 12 Pro line go away though, and replaced with whatever new colorway comes next. So like, we're shaping up to have a pretty big Apple event. We're not gonna have new radical designs or design changes like we saw from the 11 to the 12, but at the very least, new phone hardware that refines what we already have. That's kind of been what Apple's known for. And while it looks like the iPhone 13 should be iterative, there should be a lot of features that make the upgrade worthwhile. For me, the higher refresh rate screen is probably the only reason I would look to upgrade. If you've never used a phone with 120 hertz or 90 hertz, then it's probably not gonna matter that much to you. But if you have and you've seen the smoothness of it, at the very least, something to consider.